Welcome to our channel. Today, we're uncovering some of the rarest 1-cent pennies in US history. These tiny coins are worth far more than you'd expect. Stay tuned to find out the incredible value behind these ultra-rare treasures. In the heart of 1977, as the world witnessed the rise of disco, the early days of video games, and the beginning of the personal computer revolution, a seemingly ordinary coin was quietly being minted. That coin was the 1977 US 1-cent penny, often overlooked, dismissed as nothing more than pocket change, destined to be dropped into vending machines or lost in the bottom of drawers. Little did the world know, however, that this seemingly inconsequential penny would become a rare collector's item, commanding staggering amounts in the numismatic world. This is the story of the 1977 penny, its place in history, its design, and the rare errors that would turn it into a highly sought-after treasure. The story of U.S. pennies begins long before 1977, with the creation of the first U.S. 1-cent coin in 1793. Over the centuries, the design and composition of the penny evolved, each iteration reflecting the changes in American society and its economy. By the time we reached the 1970s, the penny had undergone several transformations. The most iconic design of the Lincoln cent, which was introduced in 1909, featured the image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and, at various times, either wheat stalks or the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. The Lincoln Memorial design became standard in 1959, remaining unchanged for nearly 2 decades. By 1977. In the early 1970s, America was grappling with inflation, rising copper prices, and economic uncertainty. The mint faced growing pressure to find cost-effective solutions for producing its coins. During this period, the penny, which had historically been made primarily of copper, became an increasingly expensive coin to mint. The U.S. Mint had to make adjustments to the coin's composition, and in 1971, the penny was officially changed to a copper-plated zinc alloy, a shift that reduced production costs significantly. This was the era in which the 1977 penny was born, struck from this new copper-plated zinc alloy. The design of the penny in 1977 was the same as it had been since 1959, on the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's portrait by Victor David Brenner, and on the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial, a national symbol of unity and pride. For collectors and everyday Americans alike, this penny was just another year's issue, mingling with the rest of the coins in circulation. However, for the coin collectors of the 1970s and beyond, the 1977 penny would become something far more valuable than anyone could have predicted. It all began with something that may seem trivial to the untrained eye: errors. And not just any errors, but rare and unusual minting mistakes that would catch the attention of numismatists for years to come. In the world of coin collecting, even the smallest flaw can cause a coin to skyrocket in value. These mistakes, referred to as errors, come in various forms, from misaligned dies to overstrikes, double dies, off-center strikes, and the highly prized proof coins that feature sharp, clear strikes. The 1977 penny, though mass-produced like any other penny, was no exception to the possibility of error. Over the years, some rare examples of the 1977 penny would emerge with errors that made them exceedingly valuable. One of the most highly sought-after errors in 1977 pennies was the double die reverse. This occurred when the reverse die, used to imprint the image of the Lincoln Memorial on the back of the coin, was not properly aligned during the minting process. This misalignment resulted in the appearance of a doubling effect on certain letters and numbers on the coin's reverse side. The most notable feature of a double die reverse penny from 1977 would be the noticeable doubling of the phrase United States of America and E pluribus unum. Such errors, though subtle to the untrained eye, were immediately recognizable to seasoned collectors who knew the value they held. While a double die 1977 penny may seem like a small and insignificant error, in the world of numismatics, it was a prize. A well-preserved example could fetch hundreds, even thousands of dollars at auction, depending on its condition and rarity. This particular error, in particular, sparked a frenzy among collectors who scoured through their change, searching for these precious mistakes that had slipped through the minting process. But it wasn't just the double die that made the 1977 penny interesting to collectors. Other rarities existed in the form of off-center strikes, where the coin was not properly aligned in the press, causing part of the design to be cut off, or broad-struck pennies, which occurred when the coin was struck outside the collar of the die, causing the design to spill over the edge. Both of these errors, though less common than double die errors, were still significant enough to catch the attention of collectors who knew what to look for. A 1977 penny with either of these rare characteristics could also fetch impressive amounts at auction, especially if it was in good condition. In addition to these minting errors, the 1977 penny also holds significance for another reason: the political and cultural context in which it was produced. The mid to late 1970s was a time of significant social and economic change in America. The country was dealing with inflation, the energy crisis, and an ongoing struggle with the aftermath of the Vietnam War. The 1977 penny, in its simple design and composition, became a subtle reflection of this turbulent time. As the years passed, the rarity of error coins, particularly those from the 1970s, only grew. The 1977 penny became one of the most famous and sought-after coins of its era, especially when a few very specific errors were discovered in circulation. The combination of its historical context, the fact that it was the last of the pre-modern era pennies made of a copper alloy, and the rarities that emerged from the minting process led to a surge in interest. Fast forward several decades to the present day, and the 1977 penny has become a sought-after treasure in the world of numismatics. In fact, one of the most impressive auction results for a 1977 penny occurred in 2022. A rare 1977 penny, featuring a perfect double die reverse, was sold for an astonishing $113,000. This price marked a dramatic rise in the value of the coin, as collectors continued to recognize the significance and rarity of these era pennies from the 1970s. The discovery of such rare and valuable pennies highlights just how much the world of coin collecting has evolved. What once seemed like a simple and insignificant piece of pocket change has become a potential goldmine for savvy collectors. These rare coins have proven that sometimes, it's the errors, the mistakes that slip through the cracks, that hold the greatest value. And so, while the 1977 penny might have initially been just another piece of change, it has come to symbolize the excitement and unpredictability of the world of coin collecting. Whether it's a double die reverse, an off-center strike, or simply the passage of time that adds to its rarity, the 1977 penny has secured its place in the hearts of collectors. The coin that once symbolized everyday transactions has now become an object of fascination and desire, with its value continuing to soar in the numismatic world. In 1983, a seemingly ordinary year, the United States was in the midst of a quiet revolution in its coinage. The world was buzzing with the excitement of the digital age, the Cold War was coming to a tense but quiet close, and American culture was shifting in ways that would define the coming decades. However, in the midst of these larger-than-life events, something smaller but equally significant was happening in the world of coinage. The penny, the smallest, most overlooked denomination in American currency, was about to become the subject of a remarkable story. The penny, formerly known as the Lincoln cent, had been around for decades. It was introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. The initial design featured Lincoln's portrait, created by Victor David Brenner. Over the years, the reverse side of the penny had changed. In 1959, the iconic Lincoln Memorial replaced the wheat stalks, symbolizing national pride and Lincoln's legacy. However, by the early 1980s, the U.S. Mint was facing a significant problem. The cost of producing pennies had increased dramatically due to the rising price of copper. A penny, which was primarily made of copper, was now worth more in raw materials than its face value. The U.S. government could no longer afford to make pennies in this traditional copper form. So, in 1982, the Mint made a major decision: they would change the composition of the penny. The new penny would be made of 97.5% zinc, with just a thin copper plating. This change would reduce production costs and ensure that pennies remained viable for years to come. This transition, though necessary, wasn't without its complications. The U.S. Mint found itself in a situation where both the old copper-based and new zinc-based pennies were being produced at the same time. The leftover copper planchets from the previous year, which were supposed to be used up in 1982, inadvertently found their way into production in 1983. The result? A handful of 1983 pennies were struck on these old copper planchets, making them heavier and more valuable than their zinc counterparts. At first, no one noticed. The 1983 penny, for all intents and purposes, looked exactly like the millions of other pennies in circulation. It had the same design, the same size, and the same appearance. But for those who knew what to look for, there was something different about it. These pennies, struck on copper planchets, weighed 3.11 grams, a full gram heavier than the standard 1983 zinc penny, which weighed only 2.5 grams. This subtle difference was enough to catch the attention of a few sharp-eyed collectors, and what followed would become a story of rare coin discoveries, numismatic treasure hunts, and sky-high auction prices. But these 1983 copper pennies weren't the only remarkable errors that came out of that year. As more collectors began to examine their change, they discovered that some 1983 pennies exhibited a rare and highly prized feature, the double die reverse. This error occurred when the coin die, which stamps the design onto the penny, was misaligned during the striking process. The result was a doubled image, most notably in the lettering United States of America and E pluribus unum on the reverse of the penny. The error was subtle but unmistakable under magnification. To the untrained eye, it might have appeared as a slightly blurry engraving, but for numismatic experts, it was clear, this was a double die error, and it was valuable that a double die reverse penny from 1983, especially in pristine condition, could fetch thousands of dollars at auction. Collectors knew that these pennies were rare and difficult to find, so when one came up for sale, the bidding could get fierce. Yet, despite all these rare finds, there was another variety of 1983 penny that became highly sought after, the off-center strike. An off-center strike occurs when the penny is not properly aligned in the press, causing the design to be stamped unevenly on the coin. These errors, though visually striking, are incredibly rare, especially when the off-center strike is severe. Some 1983 pennies were struck so off-center that only a small part of the design, such as Lincoln's shoulder or part of the date, was visible. These off-center pennies, when found in excellent condition, could sell for thousands of dollars, and their rarity only made them more desirable to collectors. Broad-struck pennies, another error that appeared in 1983, also caught the attention of numismatists. This error happens when the coin is struck without the collar die, which is meant to keep the coin within the boundaries of its design. Without the collar, the coin spreads out more than usual, resulting in a flattened, wide coin. Broad-struck 1983 pennies, with their unique and distorted appearance, were also highly prized by collectors. The rarity of these coins only added to their allure. As the years passed, the 1983 penny became a focal point for numismatic enthusiasts. What had once been an ordinary coin was now the subject of intense study and scrutiny. Collectors searched through piles of pennies, looking for those rare copper planchets, double dies, off-center strikes, and broad-struck errors. Those who were lucky enough to find one of these rarities could expect to make a small fortune, and as more coins surfaced, the prices continued to rise, but it wasn't until a few years ago that the true potential value of these 1983 pennies became fully realized. In 2021, a particular 1983 copper penny, struck on a copper alloy planchet and graded in mint condition, sold at auction for an astounding $29,250. The auction world had never seen anything quite like it. A penny, worth just 1 cent when it was first minted, had now become a collector's dream, fetching a price more than 290,000 times its face value. The true crown jewel, however, came a year later. In 2022, another 1983 copper penny, this one even more pristine and with perfect details, was auctioned off for a jaw-dropping $108,000. Yes, you read that correctly, a single 1983 penny, once discarded as pocket change, sold for over $100,000. It was an unprecedented price for a modern coin, especially one that was made almost by accident. The excitement surrounding these 1983 pennies wasn't just about the money. It was about the thrill of discovery. It was about the realization that hidden within the millions of pennies produced every year were rare and valuable treasures, waiting to be found. For collectors, it was a reminder that even the most seemingly mundane items, those we often overlook or toss aside, can hold immense value if we take the time to look closely. So, what's the lesson here? Maybe it's that the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. Maybe it's that sometimes, the smallest details, the ones that are easy to miss, can make the biggest difference. And perhaps, just perhaps, it's a reminder to never underestimate the potential value of a single coin. After all, in the world of rare coins, a penny can be worth much more than its face value. Next time you reach into your pocket, take a moment to look at that penny. Who knows? It might just be your lucky day. You could be holding onto a coin worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands, of dollars. The 2001 1-cent coin, commonly known as the penny, might seem like just another piece of everyday pocket change. But beneath its unassuming exterior, this small coin carries a fascinating story and a surprising potential for great value. While most people probably don't give a second thought to the pennies they come across, for collectors and numismatists, the 2001 penny holds a unique appeal. This year's penny is significant not only because of its design and production, but also due to some incredibly rare minting errors that have led to some extraordinary finds in the world of coin collecting. When you think about the 2001 penny, the first thing that probably comes to mind is the design. Like most pennies at the time, it features the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most iconic figures in American history. The obverse side of the coin depicts a well-known portrait of Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, while the reverse showcases the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of American unity and pride. This design had been in place since 1959, and for many collectors, the 2001 penny was simply another in a long line of pennies with the same familiar appearance. However, the penny in 2001 was far from just another ordinary coin. By this time, the United States Mint had been dealing with rising production costs, particularly due to the increasing price of copper. In 1982, the Mint had already switched the penny's composition from 95% copper to 97.5% zinc, with only a thin copper coating. This change had been a necessity, as the rising costs of copper made the traditional copper penny far too expensive to produce. The 2001 penny, like those before it, was minted with this copper-plated zinc composition, which became the standard for pennies produced in the following decades. The 2001 penny might have seemed like just another mass-produced coin in circulation, but its value among collectors has been shaped by a particular series of rare minting errors. Errors in coin production, such as misaligned dies, off-center strikes, and doubling, can turn an otherwise ordinary coin into a prized collector's item. These mistakes, often imperceptible to the untrained eye, can significantly increase a coin's value in the numismatic world. The 2001 penny is no exception. One of the most significant types of error found in 2001 pennies is the famous double die variety. This occurs when the coin die, a metal die used to imprint the design onto the penny, becomes misaligned during the striking process, causing the image on the coin to appear doubled. The doubling is usually most apparent in the date and the lettering on the obverse side of the coin. In the case of the 2001 penny, the doubling effect is often visible in the words "Liberty" and the year 2001 on the coin, which can appear blurry or distorted due to the error. For seasoned collectors, these coins are highly prized, as the doubling effect creates a distinct look that sets the coin apart from others. The 2001 penny with a double die is not just a minor flaw, it is a rare and valuable variety. While most 2001 pennies were struck without any issues, those that feature this doubling error can be worth significantly more. A well-preserved 2001 double die penny, with a visible and dramatic doubling effect, can fetch thousands of dollars at auction. For numismatists, the search for these rare errors is a thrilling pursuit, and finding one of these pennies can turn a simple transaction at the local store into a moment of discovery and potential fortune. But the double die is not the only error that makes the 2001 penny special. Another rare and valuable variety of the coin is the off-center strike. This occurs when the penny is improperly aligned in the press, causing part of the coin's design to be struck outside the intended borders of the die. As a result, the coin may have a portion of the design missing or partially visible, creating a unique and irregular shape. Off-center strikes are particularly rare in coins from the modern era, such as the 2001 penny, making them highly sought after by collectors who specialize in minting errors. Depending on the severity of the off-center strike, these pennies can be worth significantly more than their face value. Additionally, another error variety that has captured the attention of collectors is the broad strike penny. This occurs when the coin is struck outside the collar of the die, causing the coin to expand beyond its normal shape. The result is a penny with an unusually wide and distorted design, often spilling over the edges of the coin. Broad-struck pennies are relatively rare, especially those from later years like the 2001 penny. Their unique appearance makes them desirable to collectors, and they can be worth considerably more than a typical penny. Despite the rarity of these errors, the 2001 penny is still a highly collectible coin, even in its more common form. The penny has always held a special place in American culture, representing the smallest denomination in circulation, and over the years, it has become a symbol of change, history, and the everyday lives of Americans. Collectors are drawn to coins like the 2001 penny not only because of their potential errors but also because of the historical significance they carried. As the years have passed, the 2001 penny has continued to attract attention from collectors. What was once just a simple, everyday coin has now become a valuable collector's item. While many 2001 pennies are worth only a cent, those that feature rare minting errors can fetch impressive sums at auction. The demand for these rare varieties has only grown, making the 2001 penny an essential part of any serious coin collection. The most extraordinary example of the 2001 penny's value was realized in an auction held in 2019. A rare 2001 penny featuring a dramatic double die error, with visible doubling on the date and lettering, was sold for an astounding $26,000. This sale demonstrated just how much the value of a single penny could increase when it contained a rare and desirable error. The buyer, no doubt, was thrilled to have added such a rare coin to their collection, knowing that the 2001 penny would continue to appreciate in value over time. The incredible auction price of $26,000 serves as a testament to the surprising value that can lie in seemingly insignificant objects, like the 2001 penny. While the vast majority of these pennies are worth only 1 cent, the rare few that contain minting errors have become highly sought-after treasures in the numismatic world. Collectors are always on the lookout for these rare coins, knowing that they could be the next to find an unexpected fortune hidden in their change. In the end, the 2001 1-cent penny reminds us that sometimes, the most unassuming items can hold extraordinary value. A small, seemingly insignificant coin from a bygone year can transform into a rare gem in the hands of a savvy collector. And as the world of coin collecting continues to evolve, the 2001 penny will forever be a reminder that even the smallest things can become something much bigger, and in this case, worth a lot more than just 1 cent. The 2021 1-cent penny may seem like just another piece of everyday change, but in the world of numismatics, this coin is far from ordinary. To most people, a penny is just a small, almost insignificant coin that clutters up pockets and change jars. However, for collectors, every coin has a story to tell, and the 2021 penny is no exception. Behind its familiar design and unassuming size lies a coin that has garnered a great deal of attention due to some unique and rare characteristics that make it a valuable collector's item. This penny has become one of the most fascinating modern coins in the world of collecting. The penny has been a key part of American currency since the nation's founding. It first appeared in 1793, and over the years, the penny has gone through numerous design changes. The most iconic version of the penny, the Lincoln cent, debuted in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by artist Victor David Brenner, the obverse features a portrait of Lincoln, while the reverse initially depicted 2 stalks of wheat. This wheat reverse design lasted until 1958, when it was replaced by the image of the Lincoln Memorial. The Lincoln Memorial reverse remained until 2009, when the U.S. Mint began issuing a series of reverse designs to mark the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth, honoring his life and legacy through different stages of his career. By the time 2021 arrived, the penny had seen countless changes in both its design and composition. The U.S. Mint's decision to change the penny's material composition in 1982 was driven by the rising cost of copper. The traditional copper penny was replaced with a blend of 97.5% zinc and a thin copper coating. This was an essential move to ensure the penny could continue being produced at a cost-effective rate while still maintaining its iconic look and feel. In 2021, the penny featured the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, the portrait that has been iconic for more than a century. The reverse side, however, continued to showcase the Lincoln Memorial, a symbol of national unity, despite the fact that this reverse had already been replaced in 2009 by a new series of designs celebrating the life of Lincoln. This particular design has remained for several years, and while it may not have seemed special at the time, the 2021 penny soon became a point of interest due to a number of unique factors. One of the most notable aspects of the 2021 penny is that, despite being a relatively modern coin, it has generated considerable excitement among collectors. This interest is due, in part, to the rare and sometimes unexpected minting errors that can occur during production. While most pennies are struck without issue and end up in circulation as simple pieces of pocket change, some pennies come out of the mint with small mistakes that, when caught by eagle-eyed collectors, can turn these coins into valuable and sought-after treasures. The world of coin collecting is full of stories about valuable coins, and the 2021 penny is no different. Minting errors, such as double dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks, have been found in certain batches of the 2021 penny. These errors, though small, can drastically increase a coin's value among collectors. A coin that is slightly misaligned or has a faint double image from a misstruck die can be considered a rare find, and these varieties are highly prized in the numismatic world. One of the most sought-after errors in any coin is the double die variety. This occurs when the coin die, which is used to stamp the design onto the penny, becomes misaligned during the minting process. As a result, the image on the coin appears doubled, often most visible in the date or the lettering on the coin. For the 2021 penny, the doubling effect has been particularly noticeable in the date 2021 and the word Liberty. These double die varieties are not only fascinating to look at, but they are also rare and highly valuable to collectors who specialize in error coins. In fact, a 2021 penny featuring this kind of error could be worth much more than its face value, making it a prized addition to any collection. Another error that has been discovered in some 2021 pennies is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, causing the design to be struck off-center. As a result, part of the coin may be missing or the coin may have an irregular shape. Off-center strikes are rare, and they are highly prized by collectors for their unique appearance and the fact that they represent a mistake during the coin's production. When it comes to the 2021 penny, an off-center strike can add significant value to the coin, depending on how extreme the misalignment is. Additionally, there have been reports of die cracks appearing on some 2021 pennies. A die crack occurs when the die used to strike the coin develops a crack, which then transfers to the coin during the minting process. These cracks can appear in various locations on the coin, and in some cases, they can create a distinctive and noticeable imperfection that sets the coin apart from others. While die cracks are typically small, they are an interesting and desirable feature for collectors who enjoy finding coins with unusual characteristics. The combination of these potential minting errors, along with the penny's historical significance and its role as a key component of American coinage, has made the 2021 penny a highly sought-after coin. For collectors, these mistakes represent a chance to own something truly unique, a coin that tells a story about the manufacturing process and the occasional imperfection that can make a piece of currency stand out. The 2021 penny, like many modern coins, also holds a special place in the hearts of those who follow the ongoing debates about the future of the penny. With rising production costs and discussions about discontinuing the penny altogether, coins like the 2021 penny are a reminder of the continuing legacy of this small but significant denomination. Despite the challenges facing the penny, it remains a part of daily life for millions of Americans, and it continues to be produced each year by the U.S. Mint. Although most 2021 pennies are worth only 1 cent, those with rare errors have the potential to be worth far more, depending on the severity of the mistake and the coin's condition. In fact, some of the most valuable 2021 pennies are those that exhibit minting errors like the double die, off-center strikes, or die cracks. Coins with these types of flaws can become highly collectible and are often sold at auction for impressive sums, far exceeding their original face value. In the end, the 2021 penny is a reminder of the excitement and intrigue that can exist within the world of coin collecting. While the majority of these pennies will never be worth more than a cent, there are always hidden gems to be discovered. A simple, unremarkable coin can become an extraordinary find in the hands of a dedicated collector. And as time goes on, the 2021 penny, with its place in history and its potential for rare errors, may become an increasingly valuable piece of American numismatic history. So, the next time you come across a 2021 penny, take a moment to examine it closely. While it may seem like just another piece of change, it could be the start of your own numismatic adventure. Who knows? You might just find a rare error coin that transforms your humble penny into a truly valuable treasure.